This is Courage Barbell with your host, Chad Ikes. Me. Welcome back, guys. Today, this is going to be episode 3 of the Wisdom of Dave Tate. So, review. Hopefully you guys watched the first 2 episodes. The first one is keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. It's just strength training. Number 2, which kind of tied into number 1, is trust yourself. You know, don't automatically switch everything, but test it. If it's working, stay where you are. Good. If it's not working, study it, learn about it, seek some knowledge, maybe bounce some ideas off people. But then you gotta trust that you researched it well, that you came up with a good idea, and then you got to execute that idea. You need to trust yourself. You need to have the courage to trust yourself. Now we're on number 3. Number 3 is actually kind of a funny one for me. Again, a lot of these 4 things that I'm going to talk about kind of all tie into each other. Number 3, like number 2, began with kind of a situation I was having in the gym where it wasn't so much about my team at this point, but I was growing strong. I was moving up the rankings fast. You know, I was destroying all the drug-free records. I was moving up into higher levels, more national meets, more world meets, climbing up the top 100 rankings pretty fast. And I kept running into these same walls. And I got to the point where it's like, man, I'm not recovering, but I don't think I'm training enough either. And, you know, I thought about it. And again, I had some ideas in my head of what I needed to do, but I just kept looking around and I was listening to other people, and I was probably paying too much attention to what was going on around me with other lifters instead of just going, wait a minute, what do you need? And to stop looking at the people in the gym I was with. They weren't at the level I wanted to be. I needed to be seeking knowledge and paying attention to the people that were at the top where I wanted to be. Which was funny because I always looked at the top for who's lifting the most. That's where I want to be. But I wasn't necessarily looking to what they were doing so much. I mean, I kind of, as I went to bigger and bigger meets, I was listening to better and better lifters, but I needed to jump to that next level. You almost need to be looking ahead of yourself. So I was talking to Dave every now and then by this point, and had a pretty good relationship with him. I think I even started helping with some seminars by this time. And I called him up and we're talking, and I go, man, I can't, I feel like I'm overtraining. I'm just beat up all the time, and I'm not making the progress I think I could be making. You know, and Dave's like, okay, well, this was similar to our last conversation. He's like, well, I mean, what makes you think that? You know, I explained, here's all the signs, here's what's going on. And he's like, well, I mean, why do you think you need to train more? And I don't know, because it seems like everyone else is. How can I get stronger if I'm not training enough? And, you know, we talked about recovery, training, taxing the body, recovery, that kind of stuff. And he's like, what do you think you should do? And I go, man, I think I'm training too much. I think like I'm pushing so hard on my training days that it's just taking my body a lot longer to heal. And at this, I can't remember at this time. I knew my sleep was messed up at this time, and I think I was on a CPAP, but I didn't, you know, I still didn't want to recognize that was a factor I really had to play into no matter what. And, you know, Dave's like, well, what's okay if you think you need to do this? And I'm like, but Dave, you don't understand. Like, I need to be in the gym every day. I have to train every day. Like, the whole world's just a complete and utter mess if I don't train. Like, I get in trouble when I don't train every day. And I'm going off on this rant, and Dave's, of course, laughing. And I'm like, but you don't understand, Dave. Like, I have to train every day. I got to be in the gym. And the funny part of that is like, no, Dave totally gets that concept. Dave totally understands that. And so, you know, I'm talking about it, and like, I almost didn't, you know, thinking back now, maybe I didn't even want to hear. I wanted to hear him say that I needed to train more. because I wanted that excuse to be in the gym every day and beat myself up every day, because this is what I had done my whole life. You got to understand, when I first found training, well, no, you need to understand that I come from an angry family. Like, men in my family we're angry. That's the way we are. We're intense. We're emotional, but we're like, men don't show emotions in my family. So you show melancholy and anger, and everything else gets bent into anger. So the first time I lifted, it was like, this feels pretty good. So, I mean, there's tons of times in my life, especially in high school, where I'm so pissed off, I just want to start smashing people's faces. But instead, I go smash weight. And I'm like, okay, I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not causing any pain to anybody else. I'm just coming down here and beating the crap out of myself, and I feel great afterwards. I'm calm, I'm mellow, I'm happy. And so lifting became a way for me to deal with all the other things in life and the issues that I had. In all reality, it was a crutch. I used lifting to control all these other things that I didn't want to dig into and figure out and solve in an intelligent way. I just wanted to put a Band-Aid on it and cover it up. So as my conversation with Dave goes on about me not wanting to lift and he doesn't understand it and it's too much, Dave basically, he had steered me a little bit, as the conversation's going, and like, well, that like what you're thinking is, what you're saying means that you're overtraining, and it means you're doing too much. So why aren't you doing this other idea that you had? And he's steering me, and then bam, upside the head again. And he goes, well, what's your goal? Do you want to continue to beat yourself up in the gym and have that everyday challenge? Or do you want to be one of the best powerlifters in the world? Dave, not sugarcoating it, telling it how it is, straight out, this is what's going on. And that was not really what I wanted to hear at the time, but it was the truth. And it's what I needed to hear. So that kind of sent me down another big learning point for me. Like, what? You claim you want to do this. You talk about wanting to do this. You talk a big game about wanting to be the best, about how hard you work, about how much you put into it, how much you sacrifice. Really? Really? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to back off when you need to back off? Are you willing to not be in the gym every day when you shouldn't be in the gym every day? That was a big question. That was a big learning point and a big wake up for me. That was when I started I started really incorporating a lot of lighter GPP sessions. I really got into recovery work at that point. Doing a lot of timed work, a lot of sled work, just so I didn't get to go in the gym and pound the heavy weights that I normally did to deal with everything else, but I was able to at least get in the gym. And even though it was lifting light and stuff that I don't like to do, at least I was in the gym, so there was some feeling of, okay, the world's cool, everything's cool, at least I got to be in the gym. I got to be in the gym today. And even though at work, when I was getting frustrated, it's like, well, you still get to go to the gym. You can't lift heavy tonight, but you get to go to the gym. And it was a gradual progression where I got to the point where it's like, it was okay if I didn't get to train, or if I wasn't supposed to train. If it's a training day and you're scheduled to be in there and you need to be in there, then you need to be in there. But the stronger you get, things change. And there's going to be times when you need to not be in the gym, and you need to be okay with not being in the gym, because this is getting you towards your goal. And in the long term of life and training and life, and this is why I have the Courage Unlimited YouTube channel, where I want to talk about how life and training go together. Like, they're interlocked and you can't separate them. That's just the way it is. This actually helped me begin to deal with some of the issues of why I needed to go into the gym and why I had to beat the crap out of myself, why I had to test myself under the weight every day. It forced me to go inside myself and accept, realize, deal with some of the issues that made me be the kind of person that needed to do that. And why was I so angry that I needed to be in the gym every night? And it was just a lot of personal reflections and growth that I did because of this instance in the gym. And again, it's a perfect example, gym and life. Man, same thing. If you're successful in one, if you take those lessons and flip-flop them to the other thing, it's gonna be good. So lesson 3, remember your goal. And I mean, and I'm not talking too often I see in lifting where people were like me. Well, no, I'm a badass. I train hard. I train harder than anybody else. I put in the work. I do the work. Nobody outworks me. Okay, but that's all stuff that you love to do. Like, what makes you so fucking badass doing what you love to do? Like, why is that so hard? It's like guys that I overcome my fear. I jump out of a plane. No, you're a crazy bastard and you love it. You love the adrenaline. Don't act like you're a tough guy because you jumped out of a plane when you're just crazy. Like, you did it for a reason. You love the experience. You love the adrenaline. It's not like somebody's forcing you out or the plane's going down and you got to jump out. You're doing it because you like it. You don't pull your chute till you're friggin' 40 feet above the ground anyway, you crazy bastard. And so we need to remember what's the goal? Why are we doing this? If your goal is to beat the crap out of yourself and test yourself every day, fine, go for it. I get it. I understand it. That's cool. But then don't claim that you want to be one of the best in the world. Don't claim that you're training for this record or to be this successful or to win a world championship. Like, be realistic about your goals and then be realistic about how hard you're actually pushing to it. Doing the shit that you love doesn't make you a badass. Doing the shit that you hate because you want to achieve a goal, that makes you a badass. That's hard. That's tough. So just think about that. Every now and then, as people, we need to step back and look at ourselves from a completely different perspective, from an outside perspective. And are we just feeding our own egos, or are we actually looking at what we need? And if you do happen to have a mentor like Dave Tate or people like that, and I actually surrounded myself with a team of lifters who didn't kiss my ass, no matter how good I got. They would tell me when I was being stupid, and I did that on purpose. I don't want ass kissers around me. I want the people that are going to be straight with me. So this was another big epiphany from Dave Tate, the wisdom of Dave Tate. Don't be full of yourself. Remember what your goal is, and watch yourself, because we're humans, and we'll feed our own ego and we'll tell ourselves what we need to tell ourselves. And that's going to be a bad thing with a bad outcome. If you want to really be the best, then you need to learn to step away, and you need to learn to listen to the people outside, and you need to learn to listen to your inner voice that has the capability of looking outside yourself. In fact, this is another form of courage right here. It's not easy to step back, take your emotions out of it, and step away from yourself from a completely different perspective. That takes courage. We all want to look at ourselves as, oh, we're great people, we're this, we're that. Well, take a step back and actually look at yourself from the outside. Look at yourself like other people look at you. All right, guys, please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, with all that crap. Help me make this thing grow, get some more popularity. I mean, I do this because I want to help people. So the more people I can reach, maybe the more financially I can benefit a little bit, so I can do this even more to help even more people. And like it or not, money's part of life. I'm trying to make a little bit of money so I can do this more and kill my back doing stone less. But I want to help people. That's why I'm ultimately on here doing these videos. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll come up with number 4 shortly.